Chaos on the Capitol, as Chuck Schumer, who introduced a memo this morning that contradicted Nancy Pelosi's position last night about the CR, withdraws his memo after Holiday's LALATE, and now gets behind a bill that was rejected by Democrats yesterday, and now is also rejected by Republicans. So what's going on here? A lot of a hot mess express. It's perhaps the most confusing day that I've ever recorded on this channel, and no less than 4 changes for the second stimulus proposal to slide into the continuing resolution, the budget bill, that has a December 11th deadline. The big question is, why is no one putting stimulus checks in here? And the other big question is, how powerful is this channel to make the message very loud and clear: shut down the government unless you give us a stimulus check. It's all developing just in the last minute, and this is new since just an hour ago. Meantime, $2,400 if you're on SSI and SSDI, with a 20% increase and a step up. Where is that? Then I'll be turning to the bigger news. Viewers, no less than a dozen of them since yesterday, have gotten big grants. And I'm going to get you money right now, because ultimately what's going on with the CR would not get you money in the next day or two, and ultimately may not be the type of money that you need right now. I'm going to get you thousands of dollars, potentially, in the next 24 hours. It's all breaking developments today. I'm so glad you joined me. And hopefully, the news won't change by the time you see this recording. It's Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's Afternoons LALATE. And do you actually see what I have in front of me? This is literally how many versions of memos that have surfaced from congressional leaders since just early yesterday. They can't keep their story straight, and they can't get their hair straight either. But in this video, I'll be getting through the details for you and get to the core. The core, and I'll give you the spoiler right now, is that no one is putting a stimulus check anywhere, or an eviction moratorium, or a mortgage forbearance. It's all a mess. Stimulus for shutdown. Take this video, share it, tag it on social media, tweet it to McConnell's press secretary and communications director, but stay with me and subscribe. Because in this video, I'm going to ensure that you get money right now. Not 5 days from now, not 5 months from now, and not 5 memos from now. I'm going to ensure that you get this CARES Act 1 grant money, because there's new grants being announced in the last 24 hours across the country. Meantime, a lot of grants that were available when I started this recording, no less than about 11 days ago, have now closed. But we're finding other grants for you around the clock. This is rent, this is utilities and food. Then the EIDL success and the escalated benefit success is so much more money. It's more money than any of these memos would ever give you combined. All really great news. No less than over $300,000 has been gotten by viewers of this channel with this money since the last 12 days, on top of the $5 to $25 million that I got viewers EIDL in the spring. So please subscribe. Also like this video. It really helps in the algorithm rankings. In this video, I'll be going over how you can get these thousands of dollars of rent, food, and utility grants across the country. But first, I'm going to get to the details of what's going on with Congress. It's literally impossible to track it and follow it. I went live on Holiday's LALATE, which was a blast, a lot of fun today. It's our lighthearted midday show at 12 noon. I got off the recording, I sat down, and immediately Chuck Schumer had done a complete 180 from what he had done before I went on camera for Holiday's LALATE, and now is doing something totally different. And what he's doing is contradicting what Nancy Pelosi did yesterday. Where's Joe Biden? Where's Donald Trump? They have not spoken about any of this. And Steve Mnuchin, he just says, I'm taking notes. Well, I have all the notes here, and I just basically need a briefcase at this point because there's so many things changing by the minute. I'm going to make it very simple for you because it is very confusing. Then I'll be getting to SSI and SSDI and Social Security real benefits, but more importantly, I'll be getting to what the Pearl Power needs to do, because all these people are just simply adverse is what you have to presume, to a stimulus check. You're going to see me continually do a repeated message, which is there's no stimulus check, there's no eviction moratorium, there's no mortgage forbearance, there's no student loan repayment moratorium either. The four most important things that need to be done right now are not in any of these proposals. So why? Those details coming up right now. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that as we sit here today, there is no actual bill per se. There's a lot of memos, writings, letters, communications. Let me sort through what they are and why they are important or not important. First, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a budget bill. It's a budget bill that operates the running of the government. They have to do this budget bill every 3 months. The budget bill is required to be done. This requirement has a deadline. The deadline is December 11th. If they don't reach an agreement, the government shuts down on December 11th. Now, let's get more to detail the timeline, which I've not done in prior recordings. They can't do this the last minute. They have to do it a few days earlier because it has to be voted and approved on in the Senate, voted and approved on in the House, and signed by the president. Ultimately, if the president vetoes anything, it all falls apart and the government shuts down. Now, if the government shuts down, what about their checks? Yes, they do not get checks. So if they don't give you stimulus checks and the federal government shuts down, they don't get checks. Hashtag shutdown for stimulus is the new push of this channel. If you won't give us stimulus checks, we're going to urge other senators to vote against your proposals and shut down the government. Stop giving yourself checks if you don't want to give us checks. It's a very clear message to you, congressional leaders. You continually try to protect big business and corporate America and litigation lobbyists and bank lobbyists and marine lobbyists and most recently cow lobbyists, sirloin. But you're not doing anything for us. More about that in a second. So the bill is a continuing resolution, which also is referred to as CR. And the CR is only supposed to be for the federal budget. But in twice before, since this pandemic has hit, they have put some stimulus, just a little stimulus, because this is a short-term bill that only is supposed to deal with short-term issues for the next 1 to 2 months. Very short-term. On Sunday, this channel launched a campaign called hashtag CR for Stimulus. You may have participated in it. It was a success. Because of that success, McConnell agreed, Mitch McConnell, the Speaker of the House, the Majority Leader in the Senate, said, you know what, I am going to put stimulus in the CR. Thank you. And this is the stimulus I'm going to put in it. Before announcing it, he was ambushed, I guess that's the easiest word to say it, ambushed by no less than 3 bills. The most notable bill was a bill in which 4 senators, Republicans and Democrats, grandstanded across broadcast news by themselves with the support of just themselves, saying, here's a bill for millions of Americans, a bipartisan bill. It's not particularly a bipartisan bill, but that was the bill. It did not have a stimulus check in it. It did not have eviction moratoriums. It did not have mortgage forbearance, but more about that bill in a second. The bill lasted all of about an hour before Mitch McConnell says, this is junk. I'm never going to approve this. I'm not going to even put it for a vote. Thank you. Goodbye. I also called it junk. I said, I'm not going to record about it. I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. And that was my promise until now. I'm breaking my promise. In fact, my notes for it were actually almost in the garbage can, and I had to search for the notes because now the bill is back. I don't know why. It's come back from the dead like Friday the 13th, except we're on Wednesday. So Mitch McConnell said the bill's dead. And then about an hour later, he said, this is a silliness. We're going to put stimulus in the CR. We're not going to do a standalone bill like these 5 nutso senators want to do. We're going to put stimulus in the CR. Good, Mitch. Then Mitch says, I'm going to go talk to the president. Oh, really good. So he went to talk to the president, Donald Trump, and says, what do you want in the bill? He says, I'll think about it. He's still thinking about it. Oh, so we don't know what he's thinking about still. The president has said he's going to give you a stimulus check in May, June, July, August, September, October. He'll probably be saying it next year as well. But we've not seen that stimulus check. We were to presume he was going to give you a stimulus check, but we still did not hear it. So Mitch went home late yesterday and wrote up a memo. It looks like a grocery list. It's a memo. It's not a bill. It's a memo. And the memo says in it, this is what I propose, dear fellow senators who I go to lunch with and eat lobster. Please take a look at my memo and see if you like it. Well, the memo was released to the press, and it's horrible. It does not have stimulus checks in it. It does not have eviction moratorium. It does not have mortgage forbearance. And it does not have rent protection. It does not have a student loan repayment as well. It is good in that it continues PUA and UI for 1 month. Other than that, it has deductions for business lunches for 2019. It has money for Nemo, the fish, Starkis, Tony the tuna, Shamu, and it has money for sirloin again. I am not kidding. Sirloin and the Cowalac, he's going to get another Cowalac out of this. And so I said, okay, this is just silliness. But it's a talking point. It's a starting point. We need stimulus checks. Get on social media, Purple Power, and tag McConnell and tag him that we need stimulus checks. That was the end of yesterday. By the end of yesterday, some comments were coming in with, Nancy Pelosi will reject anything you do unless there's a stimulus check in there. Okay, that sounds really nice. I like that. So far, so good. So far, so good with Nancy Pelosi. I'll give it 1 hour to see if it stands out. Well, it didn't last even an hour because this morning started with Chuck Schumer doing this. Let me go to my first page of my 500 pages of notes here. This thing. So Chuck Schumer introduced his memo. Chuck had a memo, and Chuck's memo was detailed on Holidays LALATE because it was the memo up to about 15 minutes ago. And Chuck Schumer's memo is, if you take Mitch McConnell's craziness, it's Mitch McConnell's craziness with 5 Red Bull shots. Actually, maybe 5. It throws a couple Long Island iced teas in there, and then it'll look rational. It gives you FPUC for the next 35 years. It gives you, it extends unemployment benefits for the next, 900 years past the pandemic. And, basically everyone will be on unemployment for 900 years. What are we doing here? This is an emergency bill. We're talking about a month to 2 months of issues. Again, has no eviction, has no stimulus checks, no eviction moratorium, no mortgage forbearance. And it actually has no lobster either. So, we thought, okay, that's just so silly, and we're just going to ignore it. And the fact that he had contradicted Nancy Pelosi and did not have a stimulus check in there, that was sort of cute. Nancy Pelosi had called up Steve Mnuchin amidst all this, said, Steve, it's Nancy. I want to negotiate with you on the CR. Just don't tell Mitch and Chuck I'm calling, and you and I will do it, and no one will know about it. Well, Steve Mnuchin said, thank you for calling. I have everyone's proposals. I'll be looking at them, but no, I'm not doing that. So that was shot down. That tactic failed really quickly, we learned by midday today. So then what happened minutes ago? Minutes ago, Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi said, oh, forget about calling up Steve Mnuchin. Forget about Chuck Schumer's memo from an hour ago. 5 pages that I printed out. What a waste of 5 pages. We're going to throw that away. We're starting new. And guess what we're going to do? Just guess. What could possibly be the craziest thing you can hear in this recording? We're going to back the junk bill from yesterday from those 5 grandstanding senators. Excuse me? What? Minutes ago, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer said, you know what? We're going to throw out our own bill of $600 a week, and we're going to support the bipartisan bill from yesterday that has a lot of junk and doesn't have anything that we've ever supported before. Okay, now this is really crazy in every universe of craziness. Let me go over why it's crazy. First of all, there's no stimulus check again. Nancy Pelosi's desire to give you a stimulus check, not true. I've told you this for months. She does not want to give you a stimulus check. I don't know why. She's the person who kept on reducing your stimulus check to almost $500, while Steve Mnuchin kept on raising the price of the stim. Again, there's no stimulus check. She's absolutely perfectly wonderful getting her hair done, but not giving you a stimulus check. Second, there's no mortgage forbearance. So you can be evicted. Children going hungry on the street. Sounds really good. New hashtag. Mortgage forbearance. Take their house so you can't have any $12 ice cream. But it will have some money for some businesses. $300 billion for PPP. $240 million for staying local. And temporary liability shield for businesses. $50 billion for healthcare. And FPUC for $300 a week. What's my opinion of the situation? I think they're all crazy. I think they're all wacko. Let me detail the nuances of why I think they're backing this bill. First of all, they're trying to get some support, and they have literally no support. No one has support for anything on every corner. But the $300 billion for PPP, that's in Mitch's bill. Mitch actually gives more than $300 billion. But I said that I actually said that about $100 billion is good for PPP. $300 billion is not enormously too bad, but it should be smaller. $240 million for state and local. That's insane. That is never going to be passed by Mitch McConnell. The state and the local needs to go in the big stimulus bill. It does not go in the CR. There should be zero for state and local in this. Then it says liability shield for businesses. The news reporters were sort of laughing about this because this is Mitch's number one item that he wants to in every single thing. It's basically saying you can't sue businesses if you're getting COVID in the business. And the lobbyists for the trial attorneys have been fighting for this for a while. And so Mitch is really succumbing to the lobbyists and saying, I want this in no matter what. And so what the bipartisan bill did was slide that in to appease Mitch McConnell. But then the $300 a week for FPUC, not retroactive, is just really sort of crazy because Nancy Pelosi wouldn't even accept $400 from Steve Mnuchin, and now she's accepting $300. It shows an era of desperation and also confusion that they have absolutely no idea really what they want anymore. What's my opinion of the situation? Hashtag check. It's just hashtag you're crazy. That's really what I should say. Hashtag get sirloin, hire sirloin, because we're just not getting anywhere with these crazy people. The bottom line is, I think the really hashtag is shut stimulus checks or shutdown for stimulus checks or stimulus checks for shutdown, whichever one you want to choose. It is just incredible that the most important three items that this country needs right now, which is eviction protection, mortgage forbearance, and stimulus checks, are not in any of these proposals and is now completely tossed to the side by Nancy Pelosi, who continually talked about children going hungry. There's not a single penny in here for children. There's not a single penny in here for children. There's not a single penny in here for food. There's not a single penny for anything that the Democrats claim they supported for all these months. So as you go forward, and I look at it's the 17-minute mark, I'm even running late on this video. What's important to understand is that there is progress. And the progress is that Mitch's bill as written, if it got a stimulus check in it, got eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance, we would be good till January. And that would be enough. FPUC should really not be in this because this is an emergency bill for 2 months. That if we got the stimulus check and the eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance, we'd be fine. Let me go to some CARES Act 1 money because I just didn't even get to that, and the $2,400 for SSI. The $2,400 for SSI and SSDI and Social Security and Railroad benefits needs to be in a standalone bill and will be a standalone bill. It won't be in this. This is a continuing resolution. This is a budget bill. So $2,400, yes. $200 every month, yes. Starting now all the way up to December 31st, upwards of $2,400, as high as $4,000. Then there would be a 20% increase lifetime, up to 20% one time. So if you're making $1,000, they would raise it to $1,200 for one time, but they would not be done there yet. This is what's really good news. Every year, they would increase based upon a new benchmark that increases as the cost of goods in the economy go higher. So egg and milk goes higher in a year from now. Your checks would go higher in a year from now. All really good news, but that would be a standalone bill. Next, let's go to CARES Act 1 money. In purple, right after this, in about 15 minutes, I'm going to go over incredible details about the checks, about the grants. But I want to make very clear to you the following, is that there's new grants being announced all across the country. Houston, Colorado, New Mexico, New York, and other places across the country have just announced new grants either across their city or across their state just in the last few days. So I need you to remain vigilant. And in some cases, the grant money we now know is not in the same housing authority you would thought it's in, but in a different housing authority. Viewers are getting grants in incredible places that we never knew before. Kentucky, Colorado, New York, Mississippi, Ohio are among the states that are now getting grants in places that we never thought there were grants. And this is rent grant, and it's a lot of money. With that, stay with me in about 15 minutes from now, in which I'll break those grants down more as I get away from this hot mess espresso to itself. And then join me on 15 minutes thereafter for Being a Mitch, in which I'll go over really where this mess is going. It's confusing, and I'm going to make it very simple for you. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay in that life for more.